What would you do if a billionaire offered to make all your problems go away in exchange for a favor? Think carefully because it might involve a trip to Mars and giant mutant cockroaches. Welcome back to Cinesynthesis. Sit back and enjoy the show. It's 2597, and our planet is so crowded that we have no choice but to start colonizing our neighbors. Such a bold move had to be planned way ahead, of course. Some 400 years before the big journey, someone had the terrible idea to send cockroaches, of all creatures, to spread moss and begin life on Mars, because nothing says home like a bunch of insects, right? But Shokichi and his friend Nanao have other things to worry about at the moment. They are running from the cops when Dr. Honda shows up in a flying car. The eccentric scientist has an offer to make. He has the power to simply delete their entire criminal record, but, of course, he wants something in return. Shokichi and Nanao must go to the Red Planet and debug the premises before other humans move there. There is also a minor surgery involved before the yucky mission. Shokichi is inclined to say no, but Nanao points out that a man with such power can easily use it against them, too. Their choice is pretty much to take the offer or rot in jail, if not worse. Not willing to let Nanao fight the roaches by herself, Shokichi reluctantly accepts the deal. The pair spends 2 years training for the horrid task. Finally, they are ready to board Bugs 2 with a bunch of fellow criminals. When they get to the Red Planet, Captain Dojima begins to organize them. A woman named Moriki refuses to pair up with Yoshikani, and the captain allows her to change partners. She must have her reasons. Stepping outside Bugs 2, it's not long until Dojima finds Bugs 1. That should be a hint to them that the previous mission wasn't enough. One of the soldiers wonders why they can't see any cockroach carcasses around. That is promptly answered by a group of cockroaches. Except these are not the regular insects the team was expecting. Something very strange happened to these creatures, and they're not happy about it. Soon, Shokichi and Nanao also have the displeasure of an encounter. Realizing that these are mutant monsters that can even move faster than humans, they try to befriend the abominations instead of fighting them. But the roaches are not interested in networking. One of them goes for Nanao's neck and breaks it in front of Shokichi. He can't believe his friend was killed minutes after landing on that godforsaken planet. The creature decides to spare him for some reason, so he takes a lifeless Nanao back to their ship. Arriving there, he learns that more people have been attacked. Tensions are running high, and Captain Dojima is forced to spill the beans. Apparently, cockroaches were not the ideal species to use in this experiment. Who could have predicted that? Everyone with a brain. But what no one could have expected is what actually happened. Those demons are so resilient and resourceful that they not only survived, but had the nerve to evolve. That's when Dr. Honda joins them. Not in person, of course. He's a rich guy. It's a hologram. The good doctor is kind enough to tell the warriors that they all have superpowers now. These special abilities have been directly inserted during that medical procedure and can be activated with an injection. He also informs his guinea pigs that their DNAs are now tangled with several insect species to make sure it'll be a fair fight. Captain Dojima says he's sorry for lying about the mission. He was forbidden to tell them what the actual situation was. Some of the warriors are revolted and want to go back to Earth immediately. Others are a bit more open to the possibilities, like several criminal activities that would be way easier with such powers. Their differences are gone as soon as they spot a terraformer, which is what Dr. Honda likes to call them. One of the warriors volunteers to be the first one to get the activating shot. Equipped with beetle DNA, he is better able to attack the ugly bastard, but it's not enough to beat it. His bravery ends up being nothing more than a very demotivating demonstration to the others. Even so, their best chance is to bug up as well. So they all inject themselves quickly as the terraformer comes into their ship. Captain Dojima decides it's time to boost their morale and steps forward to fight the roach himself. He is surprisingly successful, but the moment one dies, a bunch of others swarm in, just like in real life. One of the warriors is naive enough to ask why the roaches are so belligerent. Someone points out that Earth insects have been asking themselves the exact same thing about humans for many centuries. Bad news loves company, and that's probably why the systems are failing on the ship. Even if they agreed to run back home, there's no way to do that now. Dojima tells them to head to Bugs 1. It's not too different from Bugs 2, and they can try to use it. Still trying to atone for his betrayal, he decides to be the roach bait while the team escapes. While saying goodbye to Nanao, Shokichi sees that a strange phenomena is happening to her body. There's some gooey web growing in it. Not wanting to think too much about that, he joins the others on Bugs 1. A warrior named Tatsuka uses his new features to propel the ship away from the terraformers, while Dojima and a friend are transforming Bugs 2 into a death chamber. They successfully take out several enemies, but unfortunately they don't make it out either. Aboard Bugs 1 now, a man named Jin begins to bother Shokichi about his past. Well, it turns out that Nanao was getting chased by a creepy perv. She took care of the guy, but Shokichi didn't want her to go to jail for defending herself, so he took the blame instead. Jin swears to help him avenge her. When Shokichi asks him why, he says he also lost someone once. In fact, that was the reason he agreed to this stupid mission in the first place. There's not much on Earth for him. That's when they see a colossal wave moving fast toward them. To their complete shock, they realize it's not a wave at all. It's a crazed mob of terraformers showing off their synchronizing skills. Tatsuka doubles his efforts as a human propeller, and they make it through the wave, only to find out that it's not the only one. The girls decide to bug up. They have a variety of beetles to thank for their new armor. With their help, Bug 1 beats the second wave. However, the adventure is too much for the ship, as it gets out of control. Tatsuka and the girls fall off, and the terraformers get to them in no time. While Shokichi and Jin investigate a signal that Bugs 1 seems to be sending out, Yoshikani and a fellow gangster are shot by terraformers. As the warriors keep dropping like flies, no pun intended, guess who's talking to a freaking terraformer as if they're old pals? It's Dr. Honda, the worst boss who ever lived. Finally, it's Shokichi's turn to take his new body for a test drive. His DNA has been enhanced with giant hornet skills, while his friend Jin got some desert locusts. Their friend, Obari, was mixed with a praying mantis. Working as a team, they managed to win a battle and take a moment to explore the planet. They're curious about the structures that look like pyramids. That's not supposed to be here at all. On Bugs 2, we see that Captain Dojima is still alive. We also see that especially evolved terraformer, also known as Dr. Honda's BFF. He's coming for Dojima, but the captain has a last wish. He knows that he's not really a terraformer. It's Moriki, that same girl who refused to pair up with the gangsters. That was because she needed to pair up with Aikaro, the other traitor. With emerald cockroach wasp's DNA, she produces a substance that can control common roaches. Considering the present situation, she's pretty much the queen roach of Mars. Aikaro was the other one left behind with Dojima. He only volunteered because his powers make him immune to the lack of oxygen. Moriki wakes him up in a few seconds. They fetch this huge cockroach egg and put it on the ship, with every intention to take that abomination with them to our dear little planet. Dr. Honda's goal with this horrible mission was to send dozens of deadbeats like Shokichi to test the terraformers' combat abilities. Then, the pair of traitors are meant to bring him the egg so he can develop an army of such creatures. That's why the ship stopped working earlier. It was not the right time for them to take off. Now, about those peculiar structures, the evil doctor doesn't have much to say, especially because he never sent any bugs to Mars. No one did. That was also a lie, which makes that egg even scarier, as not even Dr. Honda fully understands the creatures and what they're capable of. Aikaro justifies his actions with a sad past as a scientist from a poor family. He got caught in a loop of no money, no research, no grant. To make things worse, he was framed for a terrible crime by a jealous colleague. Moriki doesn't bother to justify anything. She wants the Roach Army ready to fulfill her every wish as soon as possible. Fortunately, she seems to have forgotten something very important about cockroaches. No matter how advanced your poison is, they will always evolve fast enough to make it useless. She is reminded of that the hard way as the two baby roaches come out of the egg, and they are totally immune to her toxin. Once the queen is dead, the newborn duo calls all of their friends to help them with the insurrection. Shokichi, Jin, and Obari are also trying to get on the ship and leave this nightmare. But there's a crowd of terraformers standing in their way, and some of them are from that new and enhanced generation. Watching Obari die makes Jin decide that they need to take more than one shot. Sadly, that only seems to make him weaker and barely functional. Shokichi is devastated to see that because Jin is the only friend he has left. Or is he? Apparently not. Mutant Nanao shows up out of the blue, sprinkling some kind of dust all over the roaches. Not knowing that the substance is explosive, one of them fires a gun and they all go up in flames. When Shokichi finally makes it to the ship, he is so angry that he beats up a terraformer without even injecting himself. That act of pure rage ends up saving him. As the ship takes off and the flying roaches get ready to pursue, that roach tells them to stop. That particular human is too crazy to mess with. Towards Ikaro, Shokichi agrees to put his fury on pause until they're back on a planet they know better. On Earth, Dr. Honda is informed that a video from Mars was leaked to the media. Everyone has seen his atrocities now, and his reign of terror is finally over. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, make sure to hit the thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more sci-fi recaps.